Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you for using my creator code whenever you purchase any Sims 4 DLC on the EA app or thesims.com. I receive a 5% commission each time you use my code, which means you're directly supporting me as a creator. I know there are a lot of codes floating around out there, so I am very grateful that you've chosen me to support in this way. Thank you so much. Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we're in Brindleton Bay. I'm gonna say it, my favorite world. It's always a close call with Henford on Bagley because I love that world. But as I have said many a time, I am a New England native, born and raised. I live in New England, and Brindleton Bay is essentially just modeled after New England states, and it's beautiful, and I love it here. And today we're building a Dutch colonial style home for a family of 4. And the thought is that there are 2 kiddos. So one is actually a child, one is maybe an infant. Look, I can't stop myself. I just love building infant nurseries. Okay, I can't help it. And then they also have maybe a dog or 2. I think I said a dog in the title of this video, but you could have as many dogs as you would like. I think there's only one food dish, but here's one thing about me when I put pets in builds as well. I rarely, not never, but I rarely add pet beds because, to be frank, they don't use them. Your pets do not use the pet beds in The Sims 4, at least not in my game. And to be honest, that's a little bit more realistic. Like, can I tell this story real quick? My cat, I love her to death. She's just my sweet little baby angel. And I bought her this adorable fluffy cat bed. I was so excited. Put it on the floor in our office because she loves to hang out with me and my husband when we're gaming. I know, super cute. And she loves to hang out with us. She didn't touch that bed for 6 months. 6 months, which is a very long time. She didn't touch it, had no interest. We put her in it. She didn't care, didn't want it. We put it in our closet in the bedroom, just like in a corner. And she uses it all the time now. Doesn't make sense to me whatsoever, but this is my story that contributes to the thought of like not putting pet beds in my sim builds. So yeah, I think you could have more than one dog if you wanted to, or you could even swap some things out and have a cat. You know, you can do whatever you want. But as you can see, the shape of the build is kind of coming together at this point. It did take me a very long time, and I did some of it off camera, to be honest, to figure out the roofing. This is one reason why I don't build a lot of Dutch colonials, because the roofing is a nightmare, and the bedrooms on the second floor of this home, where all of the bedrooms are, that floor plan's a mess, and those bedrooms are all such odd shapes because of what you have to do with roofing in The Sims 4 to really achieve this like Dutch colonial roofing style. So it's messy, but I think it worked out perfectly fine. So hopefully you all enjoy it. Also, I have been saying this in many a build as of late. If you are watching this, this is actually a pre-recorded build because I'm currently on maternity leave. Yes, if you did not know, I had a baby and I have decided to take a little bit of time away so I can get acclimated to being a new parent, get to know my little baby a little bit more on the outside, you know, and just kind of adjust to our new routine and schedule as a family of 3. So if you're wondering, this does not include any new content such as the brand new expansion pack, businesses and hobbies. Actually, at the time of this going up, I don't know how brand new that expansion's could be anymore. It doesn't include any new kits if those are on the horizon. You know, we're pretty much getting those all the time now. So I'm just gonna let you all know that this is pre-expansion and pre any other new content that we're gonna be getting. But I do have the new base game items. That was exciting for me when I built this because we had got, I think, over 70. Yeah, I think it was over 70 new items. Like we got a brand new kitchen set with like cabinets and countertops, which I use in this build. Love the kitchen countertops and cabinets. And I loved this fireplace. We got new windows, doors, like tons of stuff. And honestly, they're just very simplistic with really nice swatches. We got tiles and things too, like wall tiles, floor tiles. It was really, really great. We got a lot of cool stuff. I love when they add not only new things to base game, but especially in this case, full sets of things. Like what? The Sims giving us a full set of furniture? That's wild. That's nuts. Also, I know these couches hate to see me coming because I use them all the time. These are also base game couches that I use in so many builds. If it's becoming overwhelming, you just let me know. But we're working on the living room, as you can see. I really liked this living room. Now, this is a combo. When I posted photos, like progress photos of this build to my channel members, which if you did not know, if you are a channel member, you get sneak peeks of like all the builds I'm working on. You get at least 1 day early access to builds, sometimes months early access. That's not a promised perk, but like it happens sometimes. Anyway, I posted for my channel members and I was like, I'm so sorry that the dark blues and like the orangey wood tones, like I can't get away from this combo right now because I did an apartment at this point in my posting schedule, probably months ago, at least weeks, but if not months ago. And I was just really in the zone with these orangey wood tones and like these dark blues. They're almost like pale grayish dark blues though. You know, they're not super saturated. We have a lot of items with Horse Ranch that kind of have that swatch. So I did a build in Chestnut Ridge months ago. That was just like a country family home. I used this exact same color combination. And then I did an apartment for a teacher raising her son. And again, I used this color combination. And now I have this build where I used it again. And I was like, am I overdoing this? Are people gonna start yelling at me for using the exact same combination in like 3 or 4 builds? So what I tried to do is I tried to like spread them out a little bit, but it's so warm and inviting. And typically blue is not a color that I would think of as warm or relaxing and calming, but that's me thinking of like vibrant blues. Like when I do kids' rooms, they're usually like teals and really bright blues because they're just very fun, energetic shades of that color. But this darker kind of muted grayish blue to me is really calming. And the orangey wood tones are just very comforting and warm to me. Like I said, it's the only descriptive terms I can think of right now. My brain is essentially fried at the moment. This is what pregnancy will do to you. Yeah, pregnancy will do that. Because obviously, since I said I'm pre-recording, I'm currently pregnant, and pregnancy brain is such a real thing. I can't pluck words from the recesses of my brain. I can't keep track of anything. This child is taking up all of my brain cells. Like, every single brain cell I have to spare is just going to like keeping them all warm and cozy. And I can't do anything else. I barely function, honestly. I laugh, but it is kind of funny because I can't remember anything. Anyway, we're almost done with this living room, and I used the frame TV was that from a kit? It had to have been from a kit at one point, right? Yeah, the Modern Luxe kit, right? I think it was from that one. We have a couple of frame TVs at this point, so I couldn't really remember. But I loved it. Having the opportunity to use that because it actually blended in with the color scheme that I had going on was nice. And you saw me add the infant playmat because, like I said, there's an infant and a child in this home. And now this is the kitchen. These are the new countertops and cabinets that I absolutely love. And of course, we had the orangey wood tone, so it worked out perfectly. But this kitchen is like a combined kitchen and dining, and it was a very weird shape because I have so many different porches on this build. We have the side porch that doesn't have stairs that lead out to the yard or anything. But then there's I guess we'll call it the exit to the backyard or entrance to the backyard. I don't know what you would refer to that as, but they're basically like 2 different doors and entry points here. So it was hard to break up this kitchen, but I found a way to do it. And I even added a very small island with room to add a full dining table. So I was really excited about that. You might find it a bit odd, but I kind of found it a little bit more realistic, I think. And I got to use these chairs from Cats and Dogs. I haven't used them in a hot minute, I would say. And they had this nice dark blue swatch with the orange checkered cushions. So the orange complemented the orangey wood tones, and then I got the dark blues that I have been using in the living room. I was very happy. I was very pleased with that. I also added some of the event items. I know that at this point they are a bit old. This event's probably over by the time that I post this, but I have like the milk carton. We have 2 different versions of that, which I thought was fun. I'm going to be adding that in a lot of builds now because it just looks like someone left it out. Like maybe their child is very messy. I don't know. Maybe their child left it out after having cereal for breakfast and the parents were just like running out of the house trying to get the infant to like daycare or the sitter or something, and they left it on the table, unfortunately. And then we also have the retro wall phone, which I added here in the kitchen. I have to be more mindful though, that if I'm gonna add a wall phone or something like that, or even just the deco phone into my builds, I should probably go a little bit more realistic with it and have one upstairs as well, which I did not do. I was thinking about that as I was watching back this footage, and I was like, yeah, they have one in the kitchen. I think I put one in the entryway, so right when you walk in the front door, they could catch a phone call really quickly if someone was calling and they just got home. but I didn't add any of those deco phones upstairs. I think if we were going realistic, you'd probably have, like back in the day, you'd probably have like a landline on your side table in like the primary bedroom or something. I know my mom did. My mom had one right on her nightstand just in case, because whether it was at night and she was just like chatting with her friends on the phone or something, or, just in case there's any kind of emergency, if somebody's calling in the middle of the night, you don't have to run downstairs to the kitchen to try to get a phone call. I mean, you probably wouldn't even hear it in this house. This house was way too big. You wouldn't even hear the phone ringing at that point. So just a thought. I'm just kind of like spewing thoughts at you for no particular reason. But here I did something that I haven't done in a long time as well, because this weird little space wasn't working for me. I had a hutch in there, but it just looked a bit odd to me. So I created a faux pantry. And the thought is, of course, it's not functional, but I used the glass panel doors so you can kind of see everything in there. And in theory, your Sims could just open the doors and get access to things in the pantry. I thought it was a really nice addition to this house. And then I added some clutter for the dog, or dogs, whichever you prefer, it doesn't matter. I did size down this shelf though. This shelf from Cats and Dogs, it's always gotten on my nerves because it was just so big. It's so unnecessarily big. So I sized it down once with the shift bracket key, and then it worked out perfectly for me. We got like the leashes and some dog treats and things, and the food dishes, of course, below it. And then we decorate the hallway quickly, which is not very exciting. I did briefly have this kind of like blue swatch to the doors throughout this home, thinking that they were complementary to the darker shades of blue that I use, but they were a bit too vibrant, I think. So I pull back and I just make them the pure white so they match like all the archways and stuff. But what I did not notice initially is that there are two different white swatches as well. I didn't check the other wood tones, but this one that I ended up using, it has a little bit of wood grain in the texture, which I preferred over the other white swatch that's very flat. Like it doesn't look like there's any texture to it per se. It looks like it could almost be, well, I don't know. Would it be considered like plastic or something? Like you didn't have like a wooden door. You had kind of like the faux wooden door. Maybe it has like a very glossy finish to it, but this one is a little bit more textured, less glossy looking. So I really liked that. I liked that we got that variation. I didn't notice that at first when we got those new objects. But as you can see, we're working on the entryway, and I loved this entryway. I don't normally say that. Entryways can also be boring like bathrooms, but I added this little bench. I added the matching pillows that we had in the living room, which makes that bench look so much more cozy. Like the addition of having these pillows to throw wherever you want is so nice. And then, as I said, I added the little rotary phone. Raise your hand or comment. Actually, you know what would be more efficient for me to actually see? Comment down below if you had a rotary phone in your home growing up. I briefly missed out on that. I was to the point, like I'm a 90s baby, like a very early 90s baby. So there could have been a chance that there was one there at some point. Maybe my parents just upgraded. I don't know. But we did not have a rotary phone, but I was very familiar with rotary phones because whether it was at like a friend's house or grandparents' house or something like that, I loved rotary phones. I could see how it would be a pain if you were trying to dial someone really quickly and you got to wait for it to like go back after you select a number. That would be infuriating nowadays to me. Back then, you kind of wouldn't know any different, right? But I loved rotary phones. So I added that other one in the entryway, and then a couple of dog statues, of course, thinking they had a dog or two. And then this is going to be an office space. I didn't really know what I wanted the office space to represent, so I had to think about it a little tiny bit. I knew I didn't want it to be a bedroom. I didn't want to toss one of the kids downstairs because I knew I'd have plenty of space upstairs. So I thought, why not make it an office? And what I ended up landing on is that maybe one of the parents does some interior design stuff off on the side. I don't know if it's their primary job though. I think they have some other kind of full-time gig that isn't really their passion. It's a job they kind of fell into maybe at some point. And of course, time gets away from you, happens to the best of us. And all of a sudden, like, you're married and you have kids and now you have a house and you're just like, but is this where I actually want to land career-wise? And so they decided, since they've now just had their youngest child who is an infant, maybe the infant's like 6 to 9 months old, and they promised themselves, like, yes, once I went back to work, I would also start dedicating some spare time to really indulge in learning about interior design and maybe trying to build up some kind of like freelance services. That sounded so fun to me, and I love thinking of people chasing their passions, especially, I'll say later in life. I mean, just because you've had 2 children or something doesn't mean it's later in your life, but I don't know, I'm feeling kind of sappy right now. So I would say that if there's something that you wish to chase, a dream that you have or something like that, it's never too late to pursue it. Genuinely, never. It's never too late. I've mentioned this before, but I have worked in the realm of higher education, and there were many students that I encountered whilst working in that industry that were going back to school at like 60 or 70 to like get a bachelor's or finish a master's or something. There were a handful of people I met that were getting their doctorates. Like it's never too late to go and try to achieve something that you've always wanted. Like you're the only person holding yourself back. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just feeling very sappy right now. Okay. And there's a bathroom to decorate. What the heck else are we going to talk about? Like, it's a bathroom. And as I mentioned, all the rooms up here are very weird shapes, but I did really like the opportunity to have this long, big bathroom for a smaller family, we'll say. Because, I've had smaller bathrooms in number and in size for families that were a lot bigger than this, but this was really nice because upstairs they have this nice big bathroom for the infant, for the parents, for the child, and I can't recall, I don't think there's another bathroom up here. So this is the bathroom that all of them use maybe first thing in the morning, but if things get a little bit backed up, someone's in here taking too long, mom had to take care of the infant, maybe they had a blowout and they're like, I need the bathroom with this infant for a while. There's, of course, the other full bathroom downstairs as well. So there's a few different options, at least, for this many Sims. And now this is going to be the primary bedroom. It is the smallest bedroom, I think, out of all of them. But that's fine, because I didn't really know what to put in here. Again, this is the beginning of the weird shapes. Wait till we get to the kids' room. That's a weird shape. And I really struggled to decorate the infant's nursery because it's the longest bedroom. And there was so much wall space because of the way that the roofing works and the placement of the dormers. The infant room didn't have any dormers, and all the walls are just like long and solid because that's where the roof pieces are. So yeah, even though the parents' room is probably the smallest, it was the easiest to decorate because of that. Now this is the kids' room. Look at all these dormers and bump outs. I was able to fill one of them with a closet, which was nice, but trying to orient where to put the bed was my very first struggle. And what I ended up doing is just placing it right here near these two windows. I don't often like to put beds right in front of windows like that, especially if they're that low. But there was no other way to break up this room. Like, not in my mind, not in a way that I liked, I don't think. So that was, this was a challenge, but I figured if I could tackle the kids' room, this very odd shaped one, then I could tackle the nursery, no problem. I was wrong, but it was wishful thinking, And originally, I was going to place a dresser over here, kind of sneaking in this little nook, because it seemed perfect for it. And then on the opposite side of the room, in the other dormer, because this thing is there's like two dormers in this room alone, I added the chemistry set for kids. I cluttered up the dresser and everything. I put the chemistry thing over here, and then I was like, wait a minute. There's actually so much more room left. What am I gonna do? What am I going to do with all this space, this weird divvied up space, but what am I going to do with it? So I ended up moving the dresser against one of these walls, again, because I didn't want a lot of blank wall space either. And I was going to do a little love seat, just didn't work though. I added some of those little cube organizers from high school years, kind of created this little modular unit, if you will, and placed, I think, a mirror above it or something like that. And I mean, the modular thing really doesn't contribute that much. There's a handful of little clutter and decoration items. But what I did in this nook, which I haven't done, or at least I feel like I haven't done in a while, is I added a little reading space, and I hung up these little string starlights. I sized them up. I added the little armchair and a toy box, but I thought it would be nice. The kiddo can just snuggle up in their chair and very absentmindedly play with a toy, or they could grab a book from the bookshelf that I snuck. In theory, they actually can't access this in reality, in gameplay. They can't access that bookshelf, but in theory, they could grab a book and just go snuggle up on their chair, or they could play with their chemistry station. It ended up being a pretty fun room considering how oddly shaped it was. I also layered up a couple of rugs just to add a little bit of detail here. And all the teals just made me so happy. I can't even lie to you. Made me so happy. And what was great is I was able to add the chemistry station and a creativity table. So the kid can really dabble in a few different activities. And again, they have the desk so they can do their homework. They could write in a little journal. We've got a set of marbles here somewhere. I think I kept the marbles, which I basically put in almost every single kid's build at this point because we don't have too many activities for kids, and I love having more of them. I also added the little teddy bear doctor set on the floor as well. And now this modular set was giving me such a headache with trying to clutter it up and add things because they just clip to funny spaces on this stuff. So and then trying to move it because some of them stick together and some of the modular pieces don't. It was very weird. It gave me a headache, but I also left the desk, I would say fairly clear. I mean, there's clutter here because it's a kid's room. Oh, and like the friendship bracelet making thing, I added that too. I thought that was cute. And a speaker. But I left it fairly open because I wanted your sim to be able to access all these things, of course, and use that desk. And then we move on to the nursery. This is what I was talking about. You see all these very long sections of wall. I was like, how do I section off this room? Like, what do I do? And I thought that having the crib right in the window would just be so pretty. But that led me to an immense struggle in setting up all the other furniture in this room. Also, can I just say this? If it sounds like I'm out of breath constantly, it's because I am. So fun fact, being pregnant, your lungs get squished. It's a very real thing. I've learned so much. But yeah, your lungs get a little bit squished, and shortness of breath is not uncommon. It's not persistent. Like, I can walk around and I can exercise and stuff, and I'm like reasonably okay. But when I have to talk for longer periods of time, like even in work meetings and stuff, I'm taking a pause so I can just catch my breath. It's actually wild. So if it sounds like I'm out of breath, that's why. So forgive me, forgive me. I'm trying. I also laugh a lot in voiceovers because I just honestly enjoy doing them, but I feel like that just like pushes all this air out of my lungs. And then I have to take like this really gasping big breath, and it's a bit much. I did try to do some open wardrobing things there because we have the hanging baby clothes now from the Storybook Nursery kit, but those shelves just jut out from the wall so much. And in a space like this, I just didn't think they worked. So I got rid of them. I did keep this kind of like shelving unit from Laundry Day because it looks like it has, I don't know, just different kind of like blankets and like crib sheets and things like that for the infant. I added a wall decal. And I do keep these open shelves from Nifty Knitting, which I have rarely used. I know I've used them maybe once or twice, but I have rarely used those, and I put them over the changing table instead of my very normal shelf that I put over every single changing table ever. I've got a bookshelf over there, the rocking chair, and then I just add a couple of other decorations here as well, just to make it feel like the space was actually filled and all the walls were covered appropriately because there's just so much wall space. I'm so uncomfortable with all the wall space. I've said this many a time. I don't like leaving a lot of blank wall space. I like to cover up a lot of the wall space. So I did my best in doing that. I also added a ton of that like infant clutter that we got with base game and stuff, just to really emphasize that it's being used. It's a functional space for this infant, right? And then we move on to the porches and the backyard. So in the side porch, which again has no access to either of the yards, I put a telescope, a couple of gardening boxes, a rocking chair. In the back, I think I add a couple of rocking chairs as well as one on the front porch, really just for decoration. I don't know how much your Sims would be sitting in these spots that often, but you never know. I do it sometimes. When I'm actually playing the game, I'll have my Sims just go outside in a rocking chair and just watch. Like, I'll just watch the environment. I'll watch Sims walk by. I'll listen to the ambient noises, and it's actually super relaxing. Highly recommend. Slow gameplay. Slow gameplay can be very relaxing. Here in the backyard, I did fence in most of it, but in this space, I was going to do a pool. It was way too small, but I do add a swing set and an outside dining table, a grill on the porch and stuff, and I use this terrain paint to make it look like kind of like broken up rocks and stuff for just kind of making it different, because the other part of the yard that I didn't fence in, I think there is a bee box. I added like a kid's bike, so maybe they just leave it by the back gate when they run inside after they've been out, you know, riding their bike around the streets. And I think that's it. Maybe a line for the laundry. I may have done that, but I didn't put hampers in the rest of the builds. Maybe I didn't. I can't recall. But I thought it was nice to not have the entire backyard fenced in and to have kind of this grassy area where there really wasn't much going on, but it gives you all opportunities to add other activities if you feel the need to. But that is pretty much it for this build. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
the dark. 'Cause once you let the light in, you won't see the beautiful stars shining down from afar. No, I ain't afraid of the dark. I don't mind the rain, bringing life back. We can breathe again when dealing with the pain. No, I don't mind the rain. And ooh, that's the way it goes. Life will teach you what you need to know. And ooh, like a river flows, life will take you where you need to go. Getting old don't bother me, 'cause with eyes that's been through life, it's so much easier to see who I am and who I wanna be. No, getting old don't bother me. Truth can be a bitter pill, but it'll do you right and set you free the way a lie never will. Like climbing up the steepest hill. But truth can be a bitter pill.